Hello, I am Corey Gerard, and I have a message about the racist perspective viewpoint, in which there are many of the lighter or white skin complected that believe it to be true, and then at the same time, there are many of the white and light skin complexion that don't believe in it. So, this whole thing with racism, it originated back with slavery, in which many of us black people were forced against our will into a situation not of our liking or preferred. And with this being said, we had to make adjustments to a whole new way of living, if you want to call it that. Now, some people think that racism just mainly pertain to white people not liking black people because of their skin color. And that ain't necessarily the case, because when you conquer somebody and then you force them into servitude, you're not gonna place much value on them regardless of what race or color or ethnic they are. And the proof is, back in ancient times, many hundreds of years ago, the Romans were conquering many civilizations on earth. They conquered the Greeks, they conquered the Spaniards or Spain, they conquered parts of Africa, they conquered Egypt, they conquered Israel, and then they didn't place a greater value over those people, but rather they placed all the value over themselves. So that was a form of racism then. And many of those that they conquered were of lighter skinned and white complexioned. And they didn't value those people because they were conquered and subjugated under Roman rule and authority. Now, getting back to the slavery stuff with us black people, just say many of us were initially, or our elders were initially forced into a situation to work for free and endure, many horrific tragedies and hardships. And they happened to be black. And those people saw that as a terrific business arrangement because they didn't have to pay those people any wages, even though it was certainly something wrong, it was illegal, and it was most certainly something pure evil. But those people, they had racist perspective viewpoints, but they did not devalue their slaves strictly and mainly because of skin color, but rather because they were able to so easily conquer them and subjugate them under their control. So those white people didn't have that much respect for those people. And later on, that would spawn racism, in which it was a firm belief that white people didn't like black people mainly because of their skin color. And that can be traced back to the old slavery days, in which blacks weren't free and we were being forced into all types of tasks and duties against our will that were not acceptable or agreed upon by us. But this whole thing with racism, that spawned racism, which would later rise through generations. And because many firmly believe that the skin color was a factor into black people being enslaved and put in a situation against their will, against our will, that skin color had very little to do with it. the fact of the matter is, you know, Africans, our earlier traditions were that of tribal, in which we kept traditional ways, like we didn't modernize our warfare, we didn't build better weaponry, we didn't build ships, and we became prime targets for those who had more advanced weaponry than we did. And those such people were white, and they saw us as a prime target to be conquered and done with as they pleased to. Now, if it was a situation where it could have been a white tribal settlement there, and those such same people that had advanced weaponry encountered, they would have saw them as an easy target as well. Well, that's, the beginning stages of what would later become something that would be deemed a racist perspective viewpoint. And it's just say many races now actually believe that they don't like black people because of skin color, and it has very little to do with the slavery thing. But that is not that is not the original case. Black people were not enslaved or we were not enslaved because of our skin color, but because we were a prime target, because we had very little defenses to ward off any type of serious attack. And those people that enslaved us looked down on us because we were subjugated under their authority, and they had very little respect for us. Much like what took place with the Jews in Egypt during their 400-year servitude. They were, enduring, terrible hardships and tragedies. And it had little to do with their skin color, because the Jews, there are Jews that are white. I don't know the complexion, but they were white, and the Egyptians were with darker skinned complexions. So it has nothing to do with skin color and race, but rather if those that have power and authority feel that they can subjugate you under their authority and then deem you weak. Well, this is Corey Gerard, and this is part 1 of my racist perspective viewpoint message. So stay tuned for part 2.